much sort of more down to earth, I think. So microscopy, it's ubiquitous. There are microscopes everywhere, and modern lab microscopes are absolutely fantastic. Superb quality, great images. And there's lots of development going into microscopy to develop ever greater quality images, higher resolution, all kinds of things, but normally at ever increasing cost and size. But what about all the other applications for microscopy? Often those outside of a lab. Things like in clinics, in veterinary, environmental science, agri-tech and things like that. So what we've been doing is applying mobile phone technology to achieve this kind of thing. The conventional microscopes use what are called scientific cameras and lenses, and they're fabulous. They deliver superb image quality. Problem is they're large, expensive, and power hungry, and not really suited to a lot of the applications that you find outside of conventional laboratories. But what about these mass-produced cameras that you find in devices like these? Well, a mobile phone camera is tiny. It's 2 to 5 pounds, whereas a scientific imaging sensor might be hundreds of pounds and large. And they also have within them fabulous processors that can be used for image processing and software. So what can you do with all this kind of technology? So in terms of imaging for real scientific purposes. So my analogy is a bit like mobile phones have all got cameras in them now. 10, 20 years ago, people took 1 photo a week. Now people take 10, 20 photos a day. These little cameras, without them Facebook wouldn't exist, it wouldn't work really. And the quality of them is getting really rather good. So if you like, the ubiquity of imaging in cameras has dramatically increased by getting onto the market these frankly lower quality cameras than have been traditionally available compared to the digital SLRs that have always been around. So what you find is that you find this in lots of areas of technology when there's an established technology that yes is delivering great quality, but something slightly disruptive comes up from below that can then be applied to open up a whole new area of industry. So our concept is to take these mass-produced sensors out of mobile phones and use them in microscopy. The idea being to get most of the performance but of a fraction of the size and the cost. So what you end up with is that, and that's a 1 micron microscope, 1 micron resolution microscope, and it fits in your pocket. You take it wherever you like. Pictures appear on the mobile phone, so you can immediately email them, do whatever you like with them. And that opens up a whole pile of different opportunities that don't exist if you pursue the sort of, you instinctively grab the normal technologies that you put in microscope and do it the same way, because you end up with something that's just too big, too expensive, too difficult to use, and various things like that. Wrong one. So these are some of the pictures you can get from that microscope. These are raw pictures, they're not processed in any way, just straight off the microscope. So there's some breast cancer cells there, that's a little parasite from a fish. Plenty of applications in fish farming. Environmental science, that's a parasite in some fresh water. Some crystals, this is some educational applications, pond dipping, all sorts of wondrous pond life you can see there, some emulsions in the food tech industry, and in the middle some intestinal worms from animals, showing the veterinary applications. So the applications that we find for this kind of technology, veterinary, parasites, out in the field, literally in the field. There are some medical applications. We haven't focused on those as yet because we're a young company, but in clinics, developing world, various people have been talking to us about that. Environmental water quality, agri-tech in parasites, soil, fungi, microelectronics, in printed electronics. So there's a lot of things that can be done with these very small devices that you can't do with, excuse me while I destroy the microphone. You can't do with conventional microscopy technology. But that's just the start. This is just a basic light field microscope with a couple of illuminators above and below the sample. I've already got demonstrators for doing phase contrast, dark field, fluorescence, all kinds of things on this same platform that enables a whole host of different applications. And of course, because you've got a single board multi-core computer on this device, you can do image analysis tailored to a particular application. So working with Corolla, we had just a very small project to demonstrate that you can do automatic detection of animal parasites with this in a field, rather than having to take samples, send them away to a laboratory, wait for the results to come back. You know, it sort of gives you a whole new sphere of work in that area. So what we're trying to do is use these new technologies to develop real microscopy tools for real-world tasks. Okay, thank you very much.